Hey guys, it's G-Man here and welcome to Out with the New, In with the Old, where we take a look at how gaming has changed over the years for the better, or worse. With more twists and turns and a twisty-turny thing, join me as we talk about the end level boss.
Groovy!
Ah, the 1990s. Good for paddle pops, Captain Planet and 16-bit gaming. Back when the only things I ever cared about was eating Redskins, looking after my Tamagotchi and Sega games. Alright, who am I kidding? I hated Tamagotchis. I let those things die on purpose. But I did like Sega games. See, gaming was so simple back then. Everyone I knew either had a Super Nintendo or a Mega Drive. Or if you're a spoiled little shit like I was, you probably had both. Most of the games at the time were side-scrolling shooters or beat-em-ups where you'd walk to the right of the screen until you got to the end-level boss. Usually a tough-as-nails son of a bitch that would take away a few of those extra lives you worked so tirelessly for. Hell, some games even threw a few sub-bosses in mid-level just to f*** with you. And it's always been something that has stuck in my mind because bosses in modern games are few and far between. To this day, I can recall the strategies needed to defeat every single boss in every Sonic the Hedgehog game. I can remember the best order to take on all the Master Robots in Mega Man 2. Bosses weren't just there for nothing. You really felt a sense of accomplishment and progress every time you beat them. You were learning new skills and applying them to each encounter. It was a gradual difficulty curve that would hopefully hone your skills to finish the game. Like, imagine if Mario just went straight to World 8 instead of working his way up. Yeah, he'd get his ass kicked. It's more about the size and scale nowadays, the physical grandeur of the encounter, more than the actual experience itself. It just feels like they're taking a whole bigger is better approach to things. You don't need to have a monster 100 times my size to impress me. Mega Man's enemies were the same size he was, and those pricks were an absolute bitch to defeat sometimes. Just because they were small didn't mean they took any less skill or effort to defeat. Sure, large battles are amazing from a technical standpoint. You know, there's a giant ogre thing that swipes the entire screen and it's built using 5 million polygons or whatever. But if game developers have got all this technology at their disposal, why is it that the boss is still only repeating the same 3 or 4 moves over again until he dies? And it almost seems like every game now has to have an oversized boss fight. When did this become a mandatory thing? The God of War series is infamous for these types of fights, but underneath all the smoke and mirrors is just a basic sequence of moves that you have to figure out before you can retaliate. Some boss fights even rely on the whole quicktime event thing, where you just sit there and press a button at the right time to avoid damage or death. Who ever thought that this would be a good idea? Also, if it's the first time you're fighting the boss, you're not even going to know what's coming up and it's just going to be a total cheap shot. Besides, sitting there and pressing a button while I watch my character do all this awesome stuff is just a tease. I want to be the one doing all that crap. I don't want to sit here watching it while I press the square button every 2 seconds. I want to be in control. Isn't that the whole point of playing a game in the first place? And deep down I think it's just because most modern gamers like myself don't like that much of a challenge anymore. That's why all modern titles are plagued with regenerating health, checkpoints and autosaves every 30 seconds. Gamers are a fickle bunch. Don't get me wrong, I'm not pretending like the industry is all tarred and feathered. There's still plenty of titles out there that contain fun and engaging boss battles. And upcoming games like Diablo 3 are sure to be packed with them as well. When a game comes along that brings back frequent and difficult boss encounters, it almost feels nostalgic. Makes me feel like a 9-year-old kid again, even with all the modern bells and whistles attached. I guess I was just hoping that things would have evolved overall a bit more. And enough with the goddamn QuickTime events. Well, thank you for joining me anyway on Out with the New, In with the Old. And remember, they can't tell the police if they're already dead. Oh man, I've got to work on my inner monologue.